This topic kind of surprises me a little bit because when I get around my district, the major fear is that we won't have enough people. Not the problem. We've got a bunch of people who don't know what to do, but there's concern, and I think I'll focus that concern particularly on three areas: on construction, on manufacturing, and the medical field. And I think in all three areas, the problem we have is we have a shortage of people, quite frankly, in this country who want to work with their hands. I think we could build more houses in my district if only we had more people in construction. Can't find them. I'm told if you go into that field, within 3 or 4 years, you're going to be making 6 figures. In the medical field, again, as the population gets older, shortage of people. I'm going to ask you, Mr. Peretti, I think there are two problems that are causing the shortage, or at least people think there are. First of all, and I'm going to ask you to comment on these. First of all, we have too many people getting degrees, and Professor Harris mentioned the fact that some people are overpromising. I want you to address that, Mr. Peretti. Are universities sometimes overpromising a high wage when, in fact, if people got skills-based education, which frequently does not necessarily mean a college degree, they'd be making more money and having more job security? Could you comment on that?
Sure.
Are universities overpromising?
I don't know that I'd say that universities are overpromising as much as generally I think the mindset has always been if you go get a degree, if you get a 4-year degree, you'll always do better. And there's been an aversion to saying the path for everyone is not a 4-year degree. I think our community colleges in that regard are tremendously undervalued resource in terms of developing skills-based learning and the sorts of things that lead to prosperity. You mentioned manufacturing. We do a lot of work with the National Association of Manufacturers and with their members, and one of the problems they face is they say, when you say parents don't tell their kids, go get a job in the factory or go into manufacturing because it's a mindset of 40 years ago where it might have been.
Well, I think the problem is that we actually have people on this committee who talk about it like somehow it's a superior type of thing to go to college. And I want you to elaborate that as far as the job opportunities. Do you see people going back and getting jobs in what in Wisconsin we call technical colleges, I guess you call community colleges, that maybe got a degree in the first place in which they were maybe overpromised a given salary and they didn't get it?
I'm sure there are some. I wouldn't want to rattle off or pretend to rattle off with my fingers that what those numbers are. But I certainly do endorse the concept that in whether it's technical or community colleges, providing those sorts of skills, which are necessary. It's even what we traditionally called blue-collar jobs, manufacturing. It's no longer simply enough to be able to use your hands. You need to use your head as well. I was on the floor of a plant in just outside of St. Louis that manufactures fuse boxes, big things you see them on traffic lights and such. Manufactures most of them in the country, in fact. And if I tell you to a person, male, female, otherwise, everybody was in front of a screen, and they were working with the computer, not against the computer, not displaced by, but the skills were necessary there.
When you tour manufacturers, do you find that even among the skilled workers they have, that too many of them are probably going to be retired in the next 10 years, that in fact we're going to have a worker shortage?
Yes.
Okay.
Unequivocally.
And I'll give you one more question. There's a lot of talk around here about credentialism. I think sometimes credentialism kind of mucks up the economy because you have people who are capable of doing a job, but they don't have the credential. Could you comment on this drive towards more credentialism? Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
I think knowing what is a valuable credential and what leads to something can be a good thing. I think to be sort of mindlessly stuck on the idea that I can't fill someone in this job if they don't check, the following 3 boxes. How many applications for employment ask for, do you have a bachelor's degree, where frankly, whether you have one or don't have one is not going to be relevant to the job that you're doing.